Liverpool is in mourning, and the world of football feels like it's holding its breath. The unthinkable has happened. Diogo Jota, the humble, lightning-fast forward who made defenders tremble and fans believe, has been confirmed dead in a tragic event that has shattered teammates and left fans around the globe asking one question: how could this happen? There were no warning signs anyone could see. No public illnesses, no injuries reported that hinted at anything close to life-threatening. Just a normal day, a smiling photo, and then, silence. The kind of silence that falls heavy over a city built on songs, chants, and the thunderous roars of Anfield. But beneath that wave of mourning lies a storm of questions, swirling rumors, and a haunting suspicion that this was a tragedy that could have been prevented. Before the heartbreak, before the funeral, before the headlines, there was simply Diogo. A young boy from Massarelos, Portugal, who carried a football with him everywhere he went. Born on December 4, 1996, as Diogo José Silva, he wasn't loud, wasn't flashy. His friends said he was shy, always with a quiet grin, always itching to get back on the pitch. Coaches saw something different in him, calling him relentless, sharp, and quietly fierce. He wasn't playing for fame. He was playing for the love of the game, for the joy of the goal, for the feeling of a ball meeting the back of the net. From the dusty local fields of Gondomar to Paços de Ferreira and eventually the prestigious halls of FC Porto, Diogo's rise was rapid. But it wasn't easy. He spent long hours training, pushing himself to the limit, fighting for every minute on the field. His determination was magnetic, his drive unstoppable. At Wolverhampton Wanderers, the English Premier League finally took notice of the young Portuguese forward who could dart through defensive lines like a whisper, who could find space where none existed. The fans started buzzing, the scouts started watching, and then came the call that would change everything: Liverpool. In September 2020, under the leadership of Jurgen Klopp, Diogo Jota joined Liverpool FC, and it didn't take long for him to capture hearts across Anfield. He wasn't just another signing, he was a spark, a player who pressed relentlessly, tracked back selflessly, and scored with a sharp, quiet precision that made Liverpool's already fearsome front line even more dangerous. He delivered in the Champions League, in the Premier League, in every competition he stepped into. Whether he was stepping in for Firmino, rotating with Sulla, or playing alongside Maine, Jota became the silent engine of Klopp's high-intensity system. But it wasn't just the goals or the stats that made Diogo Jota loved. It was who he was. Off the pitch, he was a gamer, a thinker, a family man who preferred quiet nights with his wife and young son over bright lights and late parties. He never flaunted his fame. He stayed humble, thanking teammates in interviews, acknowledging his coaches, always placing family first. Fans saw in him not just a player but a reflection of the values they held dear: humility, dedication, and heart. By 2023, Diogo Jota had earned over 30 caps for Portugal, scored in key Champions League matches, and had become one of Europe's most quietly underappreciated stars. His fitness was peaking, his form was sharp, and his family life was blossoming. Everything seemed to be aligning perfectly. Until the day it all came crashing down. It was just another day. Fans were scrolling through their feeds, catching up on training updates and club news when the notification hit screens worldwide: Liverpool star Diogo Jota confirmed dead at 27. The words didn't make sense. No accident had been reported. No illness announced. Just silence, then shock. The first reports were conflicting. Some outlets suggested a medical emergency at his home. Others whispered about a sudden collapse during a private workout. Emergency services arrived quickly, but it was too late. Diogo Jota was pronounced dead on the scene. Liverpool's statement was heartbreakingly brief: We are devastated to confirm the passing of our beloved teammate Diogo. The thoughts of everyone at the club are with his family, friends, and supporters around the world. There was no cause of death provided. Fans were left reeling, clutching at rumors, desperate for answers that never came. In the hours that followed, the internet filled with speculation. Was it a sudden cardiac arrest? A hidden medical condition? Some whispered about mismanaged injuries or overtraining complications, especially considering Jota had recently returned from a hamstring issue. Just 2 days before, he had appeared in a club media shoot, laughing with teammates, posing for photos, joking about a missed penalty in training. No one could have imagined what was coming. A close friend later revealed to a Portuguese news outlet that in the week before his death, Jota had quietly complained of dizziness and unusual fatigue. "I've never felt like this before," he reportedly said. "It's like my body is slowing down even when I'm doing everything right." Insiders claimed Jota had requested additional medical evaluations, but these may have been delayed due to his quick rebound in training and the intense demands of the football schedule. A former Liverpool physiotherapist tweeted, "These boys are pushed to the edge every week. There's no room for error, no time to rest." The question isn't how he died, it's why no one saw it coming. Fans were left asking if this was truly an unavoidable tragedy or the result of a system that demands perfection at the cost of players' health. The response from the football world was immediate and raw. Cristiano Ronaldo posted, "My heart is broken. Rest in peace, little brother. You gave us so much." Liverpool cancelled training. Matches were postponed. Klopp, typically a voice of strength, declined media appearances, reportedly unable to speak through the tears. Anfield fell into a heavy silence, its flags at half-mast, murals covered in black cloth, and outside the stadium gates, fans gathered, candles flickering, scarves tied to railings, handwritten notes piling up in rivers of grief. Then came the funeral. A slow, somber procession moved through the streets of Liverpool, the hearse flanked by family and club officials. But it wasn't the officials who defined the day. It was the people. Thousands lined the streets in silence, some holding framed photos of Jota in his Liverpool kit, others clutching scarves over their hearts, tears streaming down faces young and old. Inside the cathedral, every seat was taken. Klopp arrived, pale and grief-stricken, walking alongside Pep Lijnders. Sulla, Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, all in black suits with red armbands, entered with faces that had seen glory but now reflected only heartbreak. The moment that broke many was seeing Alisson Becker, Liverpool's goalkeeper, crumble as Jota's image appeared on the memorial screen, his shoulders shaking with uncontrollable sobs, teammates gathering around him in support. At the front of the church, next to the casket, lay a pair of Jota's boots, his Portugal jersey from the Euros, and a photo of him cradling his newborn son. A letter from his wife, read aloud through trembling tears, echoed through the cathedral. "You gave us joy in ways the world will never fully understand. You played not just for trophies but for love, for your family, for your team, for the people. Our hearts are shattered, but your light will never dim." As the casket was carried out by teammates, the silence was profound. Outside, the crowd began a slow, respectful clap, one final standing ovation for a player who had given them everything. Then, from somewhere in the crowd, a lone voice began to sing, "You'll Never Walk Alone." Within seconds, the entire gathering joined in, the song rolling like a wave of love and heartbreak through the streets of Liverpool, a promise to Diogo that he would never be forgotten. Social media exploded with images and videos of that moment. Fans from rival clubs, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, even Real Madrid, posted messages of unity, of sorrow, of respect. For that day, rivalries disappeared. The football world stood as one to mourn a young man taken too soon. Yet even in mourning, questions refused to disappear. Why hasn't a full medical report been released? Why did insiders claim Jota had concerns about his health in the weeks before his death? Whispers began to grow louder. A childhood friend revealed that Jota had expressed concerns about chest tightness and fatigue repeatedly. Though he passed club health checks, insiders believe he had quietly booked a private medical appointment the week following his death, possibly for heart tests. Did he sense something was wrong but never get the chance to confirm it? Fans looked back at his recent social media posts and found eerie clues they had missed. One story showed a photo of his boots with the caption, "Whatever happens, I gave it everything." Another post, a quiet selfie in Liverpool's locker room, read, "No regrets, just memories." At the time, fans saw it as a poetic footballer's reflection. Now, it feels like a goodbye we never understood. Adding to the unease was his family's silence. His wife, always seen cheering him on, had not spoken publicly. Neither had his parents. And while this silence can be the natural shield of grief, others felt it pointed to a deeper private battle, a fight Jota was waging quietly, away from cameras, away from the spotlight. One Portuguese journalist speculated that with Euro qualifiers approaching, there may have been internal pressures on Jota to keep playing despite signs of fatigue, to ignore the quiet signals his body was sending. And then there was the small but haunting detail: the week before his death, Jota had given away 2 signed jerseys to longtime training ground staff, one with the message, "Thank you for everything. Never stop believing." Was it a simple gesture of gratitude, or a final act from a man who knew his time was short? Diogo Jota's legacy will be remembered for the goals, the trophies, the Champions League nights, the Anfield roars. But it will also be remembered for the humility, the dedication, and the quiet strength he carried with him every time he stepped on the pitch. He wasn't just a player. He was a father, a husband, a son, and to so many, a reminder that greatness can be quiet, that heroes don't need to shout. As the football world continues to mourn, the questions remain, lingering like the final notes of "You'll Never Walk Alone," sung in a city grieving its hero. Was this truly unavoidable? Or was it a preventable tragedy hidden beneath the surface of a beautiful game that sometimes demands too much? Diogo Jota's story isn't over, because every time a young player chases a dream with quiet determination, every time a fan puts on a Liverpool scarf with pride, every time someone remembers to play for love rather than just trophies, his legacy lives on. And in the hearts of those who watched him, who loved him, who cheered for him, one promise remains unbroken: Diogo, you'll never walk alone.